All right, TGIF. It is Friday. It's the final show of the week. For those that are new, we do the podcast. I always think it's weird saying podcast for video. Maybe we should have an audio component to this. Would you listen? We could probably set that up. It's Red Sox Now, presented by FanArch on this Friday. I'm Mike Antonellis. You'll see my comments, Mike Antonellis Media. Hit me up on there. Socials at the Radio Mike, and we do ask you because it's free. And I am blown away at how many subscribers we have. We have not done this show for a year. We're not at 200 episodes, and I think it's good. We have an amazing community. We have like a core of people that I hear from every day, which I absolutely love, and I can figure out who's new just from everyone who does message every day, and I love the new people that we're getting in. And if we could ever have a show, I always think big. If we had like 1,000 comment show, obviously we'd have to have a ton of subscribers. We'll get there. And all of you part of that. We're going to do a lot of pitching today. We'll have your comments. It's a Framingham State Friday for some reason. This hat. I get people that will ask, like some of the titles, or you're doing this for more, to make more money, and listen, I'll break it down like this. I'm not doing this for money. I do this because I love it. I reached out, I saw this FanArch had a posting on LinkedIn, and I, as a performer, I do radio and TV. I do some background acting. I'm trying to do some more acting. I love to perform. This is performing for me. I love to do this. I do tons of stuff that I don't get any money for. I have a full-time job at Framingham State in the athletic office, and I have the Woo Sox on top of that. So I have plenty of things going on, and I do this purely because I love it. I love interacting with all of you every day. It brings me so much joy to do this. So that's my motivation, is to, and yes, to build long-term goal. Yes, I would love to build this to make it huge and have this big show with all of you on board as part of it. It's a team thing. Yeah, if we could ever grow it, right? I would love that, no doubt. But I don't get up every day and do this because I'm thinking about the money. It's because all of you are amazing. I love the Red Sox. I love sharing things I've learned, which I think helps because I have a kind of behind the scenes with being in the game for 1,000 years. By the way, somebody, I was talking to a student who needed advice, and they said, geez, you're old. I thought you were in baseball for 15 years. It's almost 30. Yeah, that's why I'm letting this grow out. All right, let's get to it. I put this on TikTok, and I'm not upset at the Red Sox with the qualifying offer. I don't think they want $22 million on the books for Giolito. I think that they know there could be things that are already done that are close to being done. We look at moves as real time, and I would not do that. There are things that are already going on that already could be happening that they have to wait on, that they're getting medical records, that agents are saying, listen, I don't want to announce that yet because I want my, you know what I mean? Because like if you announce something, it could affect another client. There's a lot of things. The Red Sox have a lot of options that are coming back. So I'm not disappointed at it. I just don't want people to forget about it because I get a lot of feedback on this. Not really here. Social media a lot. Oh, the guy's been hurt. He's not worth it. And I say, well, let's not forget what he did for you last year. He was one of your top starters. Like, let's just not throw away what Giolito did last year. He was 10-4 with a 3.30 ERA. He made 26 starts. That was third on your team. I get he was coming off an injury. He missed all of 24. You needed that last year. He had the third most wins on your club. So let's not discount the kind of year he had. Like, you needed him. He was a hell of a pitcher. I mean, there were times, certainly were times that didn't look good, but overall, and when you start looking at the other playoff teams, and I'm going to get to something else in just a minute here, Milwaukee certainly had much better 4 to 5 guys. And yeah, we know about Priester, which I know upset me and upset all of you. But they didn't have a lot of guys hurt. But if you look at a lot of the playoff teams, Detroit didn't have... They had Skubal, but Giolito would have been their second or third best pitcher last year. Casey Mize was pretty good, but he was hurt as well. Lucas Giolito was a solid top of the rotation, 2 or 3. I still think 3 for last year, his performance. I just think people are not giving it enough credit or recognizing him. He had a hell of a year, and there's definitely a market for him. Definitely. And maybe the Red Sox do bring him back. They know the market. They know that if they gave him that, they didn't want $22 million for him. They didn't value that, which is fine. Because they are Connolly early, they have a ton of other guys that they feel could be in the mix, Patrick Sandoval, and we feel confident they're going to add somebody, and the market is really good. It's situational, like I talk about. It's not black and white. But I think we've undersold what kind of year he had. I really do. I thought that was terrific. The Cooper Criswell signing feels exactly like the Sean Newcomb signing. I responded to a comment that I got. How come he only got $800,000 for the year he had? Well, what year he had? He pitched 7 games in the big leagues. He was hurt all of the year. He pitched 17 innings and got $800,000. He's pretty much in AAA all year. He's 29 years old. There's not a ton of market, and I think some have overvalued him. I'm looking at some of these comments I got. He gets no respect. He could have got a better deal after last year's numbers. No, they know that. He would have. He would have already. His agent, trust me, they're on the phones doing this. He'd probably get the same thing, big league invite. He wouldn't got a guarantee from anyone. No one's giving him a 1-year deal like that. They don't need to. A lot of teams have that. 29, I like him, but in terms of like, that's where we're kind of overvaluing him a little bit. There's a ton of guys like that. But in saying that, we know him. And why did they do that? Because you work early. You have to build as much starting pitching flexibility as you can. And early in the season, when guys are not built up, you need someone in that bullpen, right? You can't have in the first couple of months. Sean Newcomb was very calculated. I think they knew the whole time they were going to DFA him. They didn't think of him as a Steven Matz, Justin Wilson. If they did, they would have kept him. And they could have been wrong on that. He could have ended up that. But they didn't feel that. Bulk guy. You have to have a bulk guy at the beginning of the year, and that's probably going to be him. Now, he could still he's got to make the team. He's out of options. But I do think at the beginning of the year, he's on the roster because you just aren't going to get the innings. And if you have a blow-up game, he'll be stretched out. He'll start all spring training. And then we'll see. So that's your Sean Newcomb signing, and that's a guy with upside. And I'm fine with it. We need to have more perspective on the value of arms. We really do, guys and gals. This is, what do the cool kids say? I'm not up with lingo. And I'm glad that a lot of you in the comment section are my age or older, I don't mind, but I love the younger generation. I interact with them all the time at Framingham State, working with the athletes. But I am not up with the lingo. I know bro, my younger niece says bro all the time. She calls me bro. She calls her dad bro. But they say, I want to get 100% on you, which means 100% real talk. So I'm going to get 100% on you. I get so many people talking about this guy has this injury. You need to scratch that. Every single pitcher has injury risk. If you have got to follow every playoff team. Do you understand why the Brewers did what they did? The Brewers gave you, and I don't know. I would like to investigate this more because I know the two broadcasters for the Brewers. They gave you a first-round draft pick, a prospect outfielder. They get for Quinn Priester. And I don't know if at the time they felt and said, oh, this guy, they had no starters at one point this year. They had that many injuries. Their whole rotation was hurt. It was something crazy. I remember texting Josh Mauer, who's a former Woo Sox broadcaster and a really good friend of mine, who was one of their broadcasters, and he said, I'd never seen anything like this. Garrett Cole missed all of last year. Detroit had injuries. Cleveland, the Sox, everybody. We have to stop with this. Every pitcher that's available, we are going, yes, but he's got this injury risk. They all do. Garrett Crochet had major question marks. Brian Bayos is solid as they come, but even he had a little bit. So these are pearls. Starting pitchers. And the ones that have plus stuff, like Framber Valdez, like Hunter, and Hunter Green's not, by the way, there's a podcast that Terry Francona just did, and he pretty much laughed. And I said the same thing. And I am going to pat myself on the back on this. I said, there's no way Terry Francona is letting that happen. He pretty much laughed at Hunter Green. They're not trading Hunter Green. A lot of you have got to stop reading a lot of this stuff you see on the internet. Think about it. Common sense. It makes zero sense for the Reds to do that. The collection of arms they have right now is World Series caliber. With Lodolo and Burns and Green, and I'm forgetting the other one. They have 4 to 5, and they got 2 other kids. Francona loves those starting pitching, and there's no way on his watch he's letting that happen. There's injury risk with all of those. Last year, and this is what I dug up. This is why you have to have more perspective. 53 pitchers made 30 starts. 53. 30 teams. So a team did not average 2 guys with 30 starts. Well, that's my argument, Mike. That's why you can't pay them. No, it's the opposite. Starting pitching is watered down. It started years ago. I grew up with 26 teams. That was perfect. Once they expanded, it ruined it. Think about this. If you knocked off 4 organizations, it's not just the 25-man rosters, 26, I should say. But think of that. Think of 100 players, and you could do this. You could take the opening day rosters from last year, eliminate 4 teams, and spread those 100 players, which would be about 3 per team, on the existing teams. Even if every team got 1 starting pitching, it would change everything dramatically. It's watered down. The guys don't. We know they don't. They're managed. I think there is something going on where they're just bigger, stronger. They throw harder. There's the spin. That's what a lot of pitchers who are just retired saying the spin, the torque, the pressure on their arm is causing more injuries. But there is something obviously going on as well. Despite having more teams, guys just aren't pitching enough. It's just the way the game is. Do you realize? I don't know if people realize this. You had 3 pitchers that went 200 innings last year. 3. That's it. Webb, Crochet, and Chris Sanchez. Even the guys with 30-something starts didn't go 200 innings. I get that. You're limiting guys because they're making a lot of money. You have superstars. You have teams that know that they're going to be pretty good. But you have bullpens now that are better than they've ever been. But my point to all of this is you can't be this picky with that many, with 53 starters making 30 starts last year. That's entire Major League Baseball. The pitchers who have got that elite stuff, there's just a handful of those guys. True lockdown guys. So when we say, yeah, Framber Valdez comes with some risk, and so does Cease, and so does this guy. When you're talking about number 1 and number 2 guys, you can't think of that. You can't have that mentality. Because look at the teams that were in the playoffs. No, in the World Series. Did they not have injuries? Max Scherzer, 17 starts. Shane Bieber and Max Scherzer pitched at Polar Park this year. Now, I'll give the Jays credit. The Jays had 3 of those pitchers make 30 starts. Gossman, Bassett, and Barrios. And Barrios wasn't that great, but still. After that, they didn't have a pitcher make 20 starts. And they had 15 different starters last year. This is territory that we've never seen. And this, I beat this horse, I know a lot. With the Red Sox certainly had a lot of, but a lot of teams actually had this. The Red Sox had their most, let me pull this up. The Red Sox last year had 15 different starters. The Dodgers had 17. So this was going on everywhere. The Dodgers had 1 pitcher make 30 starts, Yamamoto. Glasnow, under 18. Ohtani, 14. Snell made 11. Was it worth it? Yes. Yes, it's worth it, even if you only get these guys for a sliver, because you saw what happened in the postseason. And you have to pay a premium. But I don't care about any injury history or risk. If the pitcher is legit, and he's a legit top of the rotation guy, I don't care about any of the injuries. I don't. Because you're comparing it to every single team is dealing with this, and no one is pitching a lot. Beggars can't be choosers. And for me, I'm looking at a year at a time. I'm not so. I am and I'm not, because before I was, because I wanted a foundation. I wish I did this show before. My biggest knock on the Red Sox was they were building for 1 year. That doesn't work. That's why they had such a dramatic downfall, is because they kept going, I thought, my opinion, trying too hard every year, and it wasn't working because they would have all these holes all the time. And they had no pitching. That's probably top. Now, a foundation of younger position players, which are really good, but like I keep going back to, I will never forget this. This is going to be my offseason highlight, is the glow. Is that around Cora when talking about we finally have young arms. He knows, he played. Breslow knows, he pitched, he played. And they have and they know all of this. They know what I'm saying. No one pitches anymore. There's a lot of injuries. And they have now built that. So, foundation built, And that's where you can be, it's worth it for 1 year or 2 years. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And a lot of you won't like some of the signing. Oh, I wouldn't have given that pitcher 6 years. Well, then you're not going to win World Series. Because at the end of the day, you need Glasnow, Snell, Shane Bieber. And yes, Toronto had you savage, but that's a pearl, right? I mean, what in Connolly you do? You've Connolly early almost did that in his rise through the system, being in a big league playoff game. But again, 30 starts or more. 53 pitchers. 3 guys went 200 innings. That's insane. Let's look back. Let's go back to 2015 here. I am so lucky, Major League Baseball, that I'm on their stat portal. This is what the big league broadcasters and media people use. All right, 2015, 66 guys made 30 starts. That's not a lot, but 30 guys pitched 200 innings. You had 3 last year. Let's see if I can go back to 20 years ago. Can I? Oh my God, I can. 20 years ago. Wow. 20 years ago, 80 guys made 30 starts. But the innings pitched, 52 guys pitched over 200 innings. You had 3 last year. 3. That's crazy. Qualifying offers, by the way, I want to get to that before your comments. Actually, you know what? Let's roll it in with the comments, because a great YouTube handle, @MyNewCamper. I'm surprised no one is mentioning Ranger Suarez as a potential. Yeah, my new camper. Do you have any videos of that? Your new camper? People have. He got a qualifying offer, which he'll reject from the Phillies. All these guys get qualifying offers, and it's this is a really good free agent year for many reasons. There's some really good players that are free agents, right? As we know. There's some really good pitchers that could potentially get traded that are free agents. But the teams that can lose these, the Phillies, you get draft picks for these qualifying offers because they're probably going to sign elsewhere. Schwarber and Suarez, if they sign elsewhere, they're going to get draft compensation, which is pretty good for a Philly team because they'll probably replenish those 2 guys, and they're going to get draft capital. But the Cubs qualifying offer to Tucker, Astros to Valdez, Blue Jays to Bichette, Cease of the Padres, all of them are going to get all those organizations will get draft capital if they let those guys walk. Trent Grisham probably won't get. I don't think someone will sign him and give up a pick. Gleyber Torres, Edwin Diaz will definitely get signed elsewhere if the Mets don't match it. Brandon Woodruff, that's a good arm right there. But again, I'm going to get all of this. He was hurt. Is that not a plus starter when healthy? Yes. Gallen, Shota, and Michael King. These guys did not receive qualifying offers. Luis Ariz, Zach Eflin. This are really good players this year. Like, there is some if you take a look at this list, there's Jorge Polanco and Devin Williams. That's 5 pretty good guys that did not receive qualifying offers. It means if you sign them, you don't give anything up. I love Luis Ariz. Guy can play. Devin Williams could be a complete high upside, like a low buy-in for somebody, right? Jorge Polanco, Zach Eflin. We know Eflin and the Red Sox have been tied. There is a lot of different directions. Not only the Red Sox can go in, but this is an unbelievable year of free agents, qualifying offers, arbitration guys. It's exciting. MLB's got a nice little graphic they made. I mean, Schwarber, Edwin Diaz, Tucker, Valdez, and Bichette. I mean, those are all all-stars. At Tubester9, if the 2026 season begins with Duran, Anthony Abreu on the 26th, and one of them at some point has an injury substantial, Breslow will hail as a genius. Yes. I don't think they would keep all four because of that. You could get creative. I have no opposition. I'm not opposed to ever trading anybody or moving on when the Yoshida topic comes up. The only reason that I always put up the stop sign in that is I just say you're not going to get anyone to pay the $32 million unless you'd have to get very creative. And we've seen teams do this. It's usually the bigger market teams. You'll have to include a really good prospect, and that team is essentially buying the prospect that they'll control at league minimum, and they'll look at that $30 million as well. We got Yoshida. He could be if you think about that from another team, he could go right in someone's lineup, but we got this guy that we know. So that would be the way, but I still don't see any team, we just don't see a lot of this. For a guy that's a DH, just putting my GM hat from another team and handing you a check for $32 million. It's just teams aren't doing that. But if that's what they did to get out of that, to keep all four and rotate to the DH, I'm not against that at all. And Nathaniel Lowe is on the 40-man. And they by the way, they took everyone off those 60-day and the 40-man is filled. I can't wait to start talking about towards the Rule 5 and who they're going to protect, because I know that there's one guy that I think could be a Garrett Whitlock if he is not protected. From Matarov 1. I want the Red Sox to spend smartly on a few high-end free agents. Spending a lot of money on the wrong players is just as bad as not spending. Mike, I know you mentioned Baltimore and Chicago as teams need to start spending, but there's another one you missed. The Cardinals. All three owners of these franchises have fan bases who are extremely frustrated, and rightfully so. Yeah, I pick on Baltimore because to me they're a disaster and an embarrassment to the game. And why the Red Sox and a lot of teams were really against. And I remember talking, I remember exactly where I was. I was at Tampa Bay's complex one spring training talking with some reporters about the revenue sharing thing. And saying, how unhappy people in the Red Sox organization were about this. Baltimore completely quit. So there should never be a market or there should never be something structured, because I hate the revenue sharing thing. I hate it. It's not my problem that you don't know how to run a business. It's not my problem that fans don't like your product. I honestly don't have any feelings of remorse for teams that can't draw fans. That's your problem. The Red Sox and Yankees are amazing for baseball because they've built this since the 1900s. The people, I've lived in other places, and a lot of you have. The passion for the game here is what drives all of the revenue for the Red Sox and the Yankees, and even the Mets and the Dodgers, and not just there's a core of teams. They spend, they draw well because there's a need, there's a passion here. And we want everything to be fair, but that's not my problem that Baltimore, and even when they're winning, they don't, they built a new ballpark. It worked for years, and then they just stopped. So again, it's not, and that's what the revenue sharing comes across to me as well. These other teams can't compete, so we need to share that. I hate that. And what I didn't like more was I might have been able to tolerate it a little bit, but Baltimore gave up. They dismantled their team. They gave up. They loaded up on draft picks to save money. They didn't fill in the dots like they said they would. They sold the team. I think they were forced to. The new owner came in and said, I'm going to spend money, and he didn't. They got Tyler O'Neill. They let Corbin Burns. They have mismanaged an unbelievable core of players that they have, and they're not going to ever win. They won't. I don't believe in them at all. They did nothing. They're wasting all of those. The reason that a lot of those young players struggled is because they need veterans. They need Bregmans. That's why they're too young. But do you think that that's fair then, that the Red Sox, they have to give them money? It's ridiculous. It's an absolute ludicrous system to share revenue because, we can't draw fans. We can't compete. Sure you can. You just don't, And the Cardinals, having a beer company own you for all these years, they should be, they're one of the teams too. But I think the structure, I don't know what you're going to do. I don't have the right answers to all this. Like, I do see, like, the teams like the Dodgers and Mets going to that level of spending where, yes, and the Dodgers have cornered a whole market, a whole country. Maybe there should be a cap on how many Japanese players you can get. But I have no remorse for teams that tanked. I never thought I'd see that ever in baseball. I don't mind a reset, but to purposely tank and give up, I just think is a disservice to fan. Is that exciting right now, being a Baltimore, Chicago fan? Look at us, like the White Sox, their fans doing victory laps because they got 4 prospects in return for Crochet. That's great. That's great. I hope all 4 pan out. You'll have no ace, and you won't win anything. No thanks. All right, I'm off my soapbox. I had to end Friday that way. Your comments, your thoughts? Red Sox Now is presented by Fan Arch. I'm Mike. Follow me at the Radio Mike. Subscribe on your way out. We'll talk to you Monday. Have a great weekend. Patriots and Bucks. That's going to be a good game. I hope your favorite high school, college, and NFL team all rocks it this weekend. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Sox.